Thank you. A warm welcome to one and all. The Department of Biotechnology at IIT Madras takes great pleasure to welcome you all to the virtual department's degree distribution program. I request the head of the Biotechnology department, Professor Guhan Jayaraman, to present the annual report.
Respected Chief Guest, Professor Gagandeep Kang, graduates, parents, faculty colleagues, staff and students. Welcome to this unique online department degree distribution program of the Biotechnology department, which is being organized for the first time in this fashion in this rather challenging year. On this occasion, let me begin by congratulating the graduating students and wishing them all the best for a bright future ahead. I would also like to congratulate the proud parents who have raised them well and would be gratified to see this moment, as well as the faculty and advisors who have nurtured the students during their tenure at IIT Madras. This year has been a particularly challenging one, and it is to the credit of all these people that they have overcome all the obstacles and still graduated without losing any time. I am happy to tell you that, given what we have gone through this year, we have an appropriate person in Professor Gagandeep Kang as the chief guest for the occasion. She is one of the foremost vaccinologists in the country and has played a critical role in advising the government and various agencies on tackling the COVID issue. I am sure many of you would have seen her on national media on many occasions, but today we have the privilege to hear her address. This year, we have a total of 98 graduates, 30 of them receiving the PhD degree, the highest we have had so far in the department's history, 24 receiving the MTech degree, and 42 receiving the dual degrees in biological sciences and biological engineering. This is indeed a proud moment for the Biotechnology department, which is one of the youngest in IIT Madras, having started only in 2004. Yet, in this short span, it has grown into one of the strongest departments at IIT Madras in terms of research, teaching and infrastructure. The Biotechnology department is housed in the Bhupat and Jyoti Mehta School of Biosciences with 2 buildings which have been sponsored by the Mehta Family Foundation. The department also has around 60,000 square feet of laboratory and office space and several specialized facilities such as the National Cancer Tissue Biobank for molecular profiling of more than 6,000 patient samples, the BIRAC funded bioincubator facility housed in the IIT Madras Research Park, which is incubating many startups in various areas of biotechnology, the BIRAC funded early translational accelerator for scaling proof of concept from academic research to commercializable technologies and catalyzing technology transfer from academic institutions to industries, 2 DST funded FIST facilities for protein characterization and high-end imaging, and an animal house which is being built for validating the laboratory work being done in various areas of biomedical sciences. The faculty and research scholars are the backbone of the Biotechnology department. The Biotech department has 30 full-time faculty, more than 200 PhD students and nearly 600 students, including the undergraduate and master degree program students. We have an annual intake of 30 PhD students every year, spread over 2 admission sessions in July and January sessions, and we continue to recruit each year world-class faculty working in frontier areas of research. The department added 2 new faculty members last year, Dr. Shantanu Pradhan and Dr. A.J. Ninitha, and one more, Dr. Nathiya Muthalagu, is expected to join shortly. We bade farewell to 2 retiring faculty members, Professor Anju Chadda and Emeritus Professor Mukesh Doble, who retired after a lifetime of distinguished achievements and dedicated service to the institute. The faculty specializations and focus of research are in various areas relating to biomedical sciences, such as cancer and cardiovascular biology, biological engineering, including bioprocess and biomaterials engineering, computational biology, and biomolecular sciences. Our faculty are also part of interdisciplinary research centers such as the Center for Computational Brain Research and the Initiative for Biological Systems Engineering, or IBSC. This year, the IBSC is proud to be part of the DBT funded rupees 238 crore Genome India mega project, which will catalogue the genetic variation in Indians by performing whole genome sequencing of 10,000 individuals of the very heterogeneous Indian population, which has over 4,500 genetically distinct subpopulations. IIT Madras is a data science partner in this project to develop novel algorithms based on machine learning, big data analytics, and deep learning using whole genome sequencing dataset. This project is spearheaded by the IBSC faculty, Professors Himanshu Sinha, Karthik Raman, and Manikandan Narayanan. Besides this, the department faculty are currently undertaking 66 sponsored projects worth nearly rupees 30 crores and 16 consultancy projects worth more than 5 crores. 27 sponsored projects were sanctioned in 2019-20 valued over rupees 8 crores, and 11 consultancy projects worth nearly 75 lakhs were taken up by our faculty in this year. During the last calendar year, our faculty members have authored 11 books and published more than 150 journal papers in refereed national and international journals, including prestigious journals such as Nature Communications and Nature Ecology and Evolution. In terms of teaching programs, the Biotechnology department offers 2 dual degree programs with a 4-year bachelor's per plus 1 year master's degree, a BS MS degree in biological sciences, and a BTech MTech degree in biological engineering, each with a current intake of 40 students per year. In addition, the department offers 2 2-year MTech programs in bioprocess engineering and in clinical engineering, the latter being a joint degree program with Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum, and with Christian Medical College, Vellore. The 3 institutes also offer a PhD program in biomedical devices and technology. Today, we will witness graduates getting degrees in all these different areas. I will now give you some snapshots of the achievements by our faculty and students during this year 2019-20. Professor Suresh Raila won the ICMR Premnath Vahi and also the DBT National Bioscience Awards and was nominated as the Fellow of National Academy of Sciences. Professor Satyanarayana Gummadi was conferred the Yelarvati Nayudamma Memorial Award for Biological Sciences 2019 and was the recipient of the ABAP Senior Scientist Award for the year 2019. He was also appointed as the Associate Editor of the Indian Chemical Engineer and inducted as Fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry, United Kingdom. Professor Sanjeev Senapati has been awarded the C. Pandurangan Faculty Fellowship. Professor Shantanu Pradhan was awarded the prestigious DBT Ramalingaswamy Fellowship. Professor Guhan Jayaraman was the joint recipient of the BIRAC Innovator Award 2019 along with Algalar Nutrafarms. Among the students, the following students won the prestigious awards. R. Babu, Vidya Muttalakshmi and Richa Srivastava were awarded the prestigious Prime Minister Research Fellowship for doctoral research. The following students won the Institute Merit Prize: Pallika Charita, A.R. Anand and Arundhati Medya. In addition, Pallika Charita won the following awards: Booty Foundation Gold Medal, American Express Award and the Dr. S.S. Shrikanta Prize. A.R. Anand also won the Biocon Prize. Deepak won the Divashri Award. Aarti Ravikrishnan was awarded the Best PhD Thesis in Data Sciences. Ms. Rubaya, guided by Professor Mukesh Doble, and Sneha Munshi, guided by Professor Adi Narayanan, won the award for the Best PhD Thesis in 2020. S. Gayatri, Rubaya and P. Kirubakaran won the Institute Research Award. S. Gayatri won the Institute Blues Award, the first PhD student to be awarded the Institute Blues Award. Ms. Archana, guided by Professor G.K. Suresh Kumar, was the recipient of the Bhagyalakshmi and Krishna Iyengar Award for the best project in the field of alternative energy applications. The following students won the Gandhian Young Technological Innovation Award: Pooja Kumari, mentored by Professor Mukesh Doble, Mohammad Ahsan and P. Chinmay, mentored by Professor Sanjeev Senapati, and Aarti Sunil Richard, mentored by Professor Rama Verma. Thank you, and I again congratulate all the graduates and wish them the very best in all their future endeavors.
Thank you, Professor Guhan Jayaraman, for the annual report. Let me now introduce the chief guest. Professor Gagandeep Kang is Professor of Microbiology at Christian Medical College at Vellore. She has built a strong interdisciplinary research program. She has worked on the development and use of vaccines for rotavirus, cholera and typhoid, conducting large studies to define burden, test vaccine and measure their impact. She is a member of several advisory committees for the World Health Organization related to research and use of vaccines. She serves and has served on the Scientific Advisory or Strategic Committee of several national and international institutions, including the Wellcome Trust UK, the DBT Wellcome Trust India Alliance, the International Vaccine Institute, and the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. Professor Kang has published over 375 papers in both national and international journals. She is the first woman working in India to be elected a Fellow of the Royal Society. Also, she is the first woman to be elected the Fellow of the American Academy of Microbiology and the only physician scientist to receive the Infosys Award in Life Sciences. Now, I welcome her for her address.
I would like to start by thanking the faculty of the Biotechnology Department of IIT Madras for inviting me to join you here at the Degree Distribution Program 2020. This is, of course, an extremely unusual time for us. We are 10 months into a pandemic that has changed life for everybody on the planet. But this is also a time where we can say that we have learned a lot and there is a great deal for us to look forward to that has impacted particularly science and technology in very positive ways. If we look back at what the situation was 100 years ago in terms of the pandemic, what we had in 1918 was a pandemic that came in three waves. The influenza pandemic caused by H1N1. This was a pandemic that had a small herald wave, a very large wave, and then a smaller one that followed. The distribution of that pandemic was really through troop ships, where troops that were returning from the First World War brought influenza with them and spread to the communities that the soldiers encountered. This was certainly true of India, where the troop ships first landed in Mumbai, which saw the first part of the pandemic, and then it spread across the country as the soldiers moved towards their homes. In 2020, we've had a very different picture in terms of the spread. It has not taken many months for the pandemic to spread around the globe. And the reason for that is that we no longer travel by ship, which is a slow process. Instead, travel on airplanes allowed the infection to spread very rapidly from China to many other countries in the world. We are 10 months in and there is no end in sight. The epidemic waves vary by country and we will continue to see patterns emerge in the future. Now, if we look at the scientific challenges that the pandemic has brought, when you have a pathogen that nobody has ever seen before, when you don't understand what the pathogen is, you have very little understanding of the disease biology, the epidemiology of disease, and the technology and tools that can be used to handle this infection. So in terms of disease biology and the virology, we have learned a great deal from academic researchers around the world. Most of the information that we have had so far has come largely in terms of the more basic science aspects of it from the traditional scientific stalwarts in the global community. However, in terms of epidemiology, technology, and tools, many parts of the world, including India, are contributing in quite significant ways. So if we look at epidemiology, the source was clearly somewhere in China. The spread has been documented very rapidly because once the sequence of the virus became available at the beginning of January, tests were developed very quickly and the sequences for primers distributed around the world so that laboratories could have very rapidly a tool for being able to identify patients who were infected. However, in terms of what we have been able to do with data, unfortunately, much of our understanding of the global picture comes from data portals that are hosted mostly in Western countries. At the beginning of the pandemic, in the second quarter of 2020, the National Academies of Science in the US had specified what were the different kinds of data and the attributes of that data that would be important to handle the pandemic. When we look at what is available in the country, we have a difference between the kinds of data that are available in different states in India, and sometimes it has been quite challenging to be able to integrate all these various sources of data to come up with a comprehensive picture of what is happening and where in India. Nonetheless, we've done a pretty reasonable job of being able to identify uh, infected individuals and control the spread of infection. There are, of course, super spreading events, including ones that have happened in Chennai, where control has been very much more challenging. But moving from scientific challenges to technology and tools that have really helped us handle the pandemic, the role of diagnostics cannot be overemphasized. We started out early with RT-PCR, but there are challenges to being able to distribute RT-PCR systems across the country, particularly in remote locations. So multiple modifications were very quickly made in India. An example is the TrueNat test, which uses the TB testing infrastructure to make sure that even remote locations can offer this test to individuals. More recently, we've had the LAMP test, and we've also had tests that are immunochromatographic tests that are being used widely for antigen detection. These tests have their limitations, but they also have use cases that can significantly help us to identify very quickly who is infected and make sure that further transmission does not happen. In terms of the antibody tests that have been developed by multiple companies in India, I think it has been quite a remarkable exercise to have so many different tests available, and they have led to our ability to do sero surveys that have defined the scale of undetected infections in India. And to me, these tests have been absolutely invaluable in showing us that the rates of infection in India are unprecedented. There are very few parts of the world in which there has been as much asymptomatic infection as we have seen in India, and this will significantly impact our understanding of the epidemiology of this pathogen and our ability to control it. In addition to the challenges of getting diagnostics out quickly, of having these platforms, using them, making sure that they were well validated, there were also logistic challenges, which are very relevant to students of biotechnology, which is that there was inadequate access to many of the things that are required for diagnostic tests, whether it was a lack of personal protective equipment, a lack of swabs, the fact that many of the kits that we make in India, that we call indigenous kits, actually have imported components, only speaks to me of how much opportunity there is for us to innovate and address these kinds of gaps in our backward integration of supply chains. Some of this has been done, but there is really no shortage of opportunities here. If we look at drugs, India has not had an innovation pipeline that has been particularly strong where the development of new drugs has been concerned. But I certainly hope that this pandemic will be an opportunity to change that. In order to do that, we need to have a reasonable understanding of the mechanisms of action of these drugs and model systems in which these drugs can be evaluated. So whether these are cell culture systems or animal models, I think there are huge opportunities for us to develop a pipeline of validated model systems and assays where both new drugs and repurposed drugs can be evaluated. One area that is traditionally ignored in India or inadequately validated in India is the role of our traditional knowledge and traditional medicines. Many of our students that come through biotechnology tend to focus on plant extracts but never get to the stage of standardizing the extraction mechanisms or identifying the active ingredients so that they can be rigorously tested. I think this is a neglected opportunity, and within your department and outside, I hope that you will view that as a challenge to be overcome. One area in which India has the opportunity to make remarkable strides is the idea of making new monoclonal antibodies or biosimilars at scale. In India, we have innovated in drugs and in vaccines in scaling up manufacturing to a very high level and reducing the cost of such interventions so that we can provide these to the world. Monoclonal antibodies offer a new opportunity that I hope can be addressed, not just for the pandemic, but also for other infectious diseases and non-communicable diseases, where there are huge opportunities for lowering price at and providing good quality interventions. To some extent, some companies in India like Biocon have already started to do that, but biology is going to be the future of therapy, and we need to recognize that. Within the evaluation of drugs, I think one of the issues that is important to highlight is that when we do validations of drugs to test whether they work or not, it's not just about model systems, it's also about clinical testing. And all too often, we have small scale trials that do not give us clear answers on whether a drug works or not. We have two examples of very large scale studies done in the UK, and that's the recovery trial and the WHO's solidarity trial that have actually led to results telling us which drugs do not work and which drugs work in patients with severe disease. So in the design and testing of interventions, these are issues that we must keep in mind. Vaccines have been probably the most emphasized area of interventions. We have had the opportunity to take both tested and untested platforms and move them forward very rapidly. The speed has been incredible. The scale we are talking about has never been thought of before because we've never had a problem before where we have needed to immunize the world. This has led to partnerships between multinationals, between biotechs, between governments, and between regulators to ensure that the pathway for evaluation of vaccines is as rapid and smooth as possible. We have over 300 vaccine development programs, about 50 vaccines in vaccine trials, and every week there is news about how a vaccine is doing very well or that a vaccine is potentially. What we have is a situation where we are evaluating both tested and untested platforms. Every platform that we know of how to use to make a vaccine is being used for SARS-CoV-2. One of the problems with vaccines has been that the speed at which we have been working has been questioned as potentially being a way of shortcutting vaccine development. But actually, if you look at what has been done, there have been no shortcuts when it comes to safety or the performance of vaccines. And for that, we have the regulators and several partnerships to thank. In terms of what we have learned in the last 10 months of the pandemic, it really amounts to about 10 years in vaccinology. And if we take anything away from this pandemic, it is that with cooperation, we can solve a lot of problems around the world, especially when it comes to infectious diseases and vaccines. The stage that we are at now, we need to be thinking about access to diagnostics, to drugs, and to vaccines. And for this, the World Health Organization has established the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator, which has as partners every multilateral agency that we can think of, the WHO, the Gavi Alliance, the Foundation for Innovative New Diagnostics, the Global Fund. Everyone is working together to make sure that there are tools available to all parts of the world's population, not just to the richer countries. We now have health on the agenda. We have companies that have understood that it is important to be able to take risks. Even in India, vaccine manufacturers have been doing at-risk manufacturing, which is essentially stockpiling doses of vaccines before a vaccine is licensed, something that was not permitted before. And we have many new entrants for diagnostics and vaccines, small companies, larger ones, setting up to be able to deliver tools to their own countries, but also more globally. So what does the future hold for us? I don't think pandemics are really going to go away. Health emergencies are going to continue to happen. We will have small and large outbreaks because the climate is changing. But in terms of what we have learned from this pandemic, I think we've learned that it's very important to rely on ourselves when it comes to research and development, when it comes to science and technology. The government has invested heavily in indigenization and backward integration, and I hope that this will be future policy for our country to make sure that we have the resources that we need, that is human resource as well as the structures that allow us to function. There will continue to be, I think, increased health spending, including on research, and this is critical. I mentioned earlier that basic science, the top line results are still coming from the more developed nations. This needs to change. China is leading in that area, but there's no reason why India cannot be. And to end, you have had the privilege of studying in an institution that is truly outstanding. I am sure that with everything that you have learned, you will agree with me that science and technology can and must bring solutions for the future of our country and our world. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you, Madam, for your inspiring address. We request your presence for an interactive session at the end of the degree distribution. Now, I would like to invite the head of the department, Professor Guhan Jayaraman, to announce the name of the 2020 graduates. Due to the virtual mode of presentation, due to the pandemic, the graduates will receive their degree from the safety of their homes. The degree will be awarded to the graduates through their parents or a self-chosen mentor.
Thank you, Ninita. And now I will read the list of the graduating students from the Biotechnology Department for the Convocation 2020. Dual degree PhD, MS and PhD, Dr. Neha Sudhakara, Dr. Kanak Raj, Doctor of Philosophy, Dr. B.S. Vidya, Dr. R. Hindumati, Dr. Shabir Ahmed Zargar, Dr. Chellam Gayatri, Dr. Ulaganathan, Dr. K. Uma, Dr. S. Aparajita, Dr. G. Kavita, Dr. Veena Kumari Uttardi, Dr. Naval Prajakta Vidyadhar, Dr. Abrar Ali Khan, Dr. A. Anisha, Dr. Chitra Srikantan, Dr. Humaydur Rahman, Dr. Raj Pranab, Dr. Chandra Kishore, Dr. Karanam Vinay Kumar, Dr. P. Prabhakaran, Dr. Manan Patel, Dr. Suchetna Gupta, Dr. S. Archana, Dr. Neha Munshi, Dr. Ram Prasad, Dr. Prerna Bhalla, Dr. Vijnanandam Mudappu, Dr. Sherlin Jemima, Dr. Sansriti Simha, Dr. R. Renya. Master of Science by Research, Ms. Megha Bedi. Master of Technology, M.Tech, Ms. V.S. Akshaya, Mr. Anand Sharma, Mr. Ankur Jain, Ms. Arundhati Medya, Ms. Debosmita Bose, Ms. Dipanjali Kushwaha, Mr. Dev Nandan Kumar, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, Mr. R. Ganesh Babu, Girin Chutia, Lakshmi Rajan Menon, C. Mohan Raj, N.S. Kirti, Palika Charita, Ravi Anand, Sandeep Kumar Maharana, Soumya Pandey, Surbhi Garg, Vicky Kumar Sharma, Sonali Lakshman Waghbare, Amit Kumar, Anuj Kumar Singh, N.V. Sai Kiran, P. Priyanka. Dual degree, BTech and MTech in Biological Engineering. K. Rajiv, Dinesh Kumar Arumugam, Ashik Ayub, Avnish Nihale, B.P. Kailash, B. Sai Monica, Karan Bhanushali, Kannusamy S. Kaplesh, K. Kaushik Milind, K. Sai Manish, Mayur Kalyan Choria, M. Krishna Chaitanya, Maushmi Shinde, Neeraj Kumar Milan, J.S. Rohini, K.V. Rupak, Sabyasachi Mishra, Sakshi Agarwal, Shreyan Himale, T. Sai Sriteja, Ramya Vijayaram, Aparajita Kumar, Akash Kumar Katha, Abhishek Venugopal, Aditya Rosalia, Amisha Agarwal, Arvindakshan S, Ayush Kumar Garg, Birendra Kumar Prajapati, Deepak, Heer Karamchandani, Pavan Kumar Narayanan, Jadhav Rutuja Sanjay, Mayank Agarwal, Nancy Raj, Nancy Jijotia, Nikita Dharmaraju, Pratik Mishra, Rajesh Yadav, Sai Tejas Ambati. Interdisciplinary dual degree BTech in Biological Engineering and dual degree in Data Science. A.R. Anand. Interdisciplinary dual degree BTech in Biological Science and dual degree in Computational Engineering. Aniket Mahangare. Bachelor of Technology BTech in Biotechnology, Senthamil Chelvan S. I once again congratulate all the graduates today and wish them a glorious future. Please stand by for the live interaction that follows.
We express our sincere gratitude to Professor Gagandeep Kang for gracing this occasion. We thank the graduates, their parents and friends, faculty and staff members for attending this event. We also thank the executive producer, Mr. Kannan Krishnamurthy, for producing this virtual department's degree distribution program. Once again, the faculty and staff of the Department of Biotechnology wishes all the graduates an awe-inspiring future. Thank you.